Hello Evertonians and welcome to another episode of the All Together Now podcast. Because as you fully quite know, we are on the Bramley Moore Pub on the banks of the Royal Blue Mersey. Tony Scott here, David Hughes and Greg O'Keefe as ever. On this week's episode we'll be I'll make sure it'll be brief, talk about the fallout from Manchester City versus Everton last week. We'll also be discussing, is this Marco Silva's biggest game in charge of Everton on Saturday against Burnley? Also, now, a couple of the Everton under-23s are highly thought of. Now, they beat Burton Albion in the EFL Trophy during the week. Is it time for one or two of them to make into the first team? We've got our Twitter Q&A and we'll talk about Burnley versus Everton at the weekend. David, Manchester City, what were you impressed with? Even though the defeat, was it the manner of the performance, how they conducted themselves?
Yeah, definitely. You know, I took a lot of stick after our last show from people about me saying that I was pessimistic about chances of a result on Saturday, and it wasn't that. I just, you know, if City were on they were going to be difficult to get a result against. Everton played really well, or as good as they could have really, and Manchester City still ran 3-1 winners just because how good they are. But I come away and I was really satisfied by a good performance. Is that
the pessimistic? Is that like the negative attitude we're trying to get out of Everton, though? Because, or we just being realistic?
Yeah, realistic. And you know, I said before, so much was made in that City getting beat by Norwich that you need to do X, Y, and Z, and this is the formula to beat Man City. Here's the blueprint. For me, it doesn't exist. They've got to be off it, and if they are, you might have a chance of getting results against them. Everton played really well, but City played really well, and that was the most uncomfortable I've seen City for a long time in a football game. You know, the most shots on target they've received since Guardiola's been manager there. Everton's XG was the highest it's been since... City's XG conceded was the highest it's been since December 2018. So think of the teams they played in that time, and nobody created more high quality chances against City than Everton. It was a good performance, but sadly they couldn't get anything out of the game.
That was only magnified there, Greg, what David just said about Guardiola's Manchester City. Conceded 8 shots on target. That's the most, more than any other team they've faced since Guardiola's been there. That says a lot how Everton conducted themselves, doesn't it?
I thought they attacked much better than I suppose I expected, really. The intensity that they brought from back to front in the match was fantastic, and yet the fact that they managed to worry City so much and force Ederson into a couple of really good saves. Fantastic. You know, the one from Yeremina was a great save, and obviously, as I've been messaging you all Saturday morning, I had not a few quid, but a pretty quid on Mina to score anytime.
I did tell you to have shots on target as well.
You did,
and he had 3 or 4 shots on target.
He did, but I honestly thought that was going in. I was the champagne was going to be on me on counting afterwards. As it was, it didn't. But the point is that as an attacking unit, we caused the best team in the land a lot of problems. Now, I'm not just saying we were saying, weren't we, afterwards? But do you walk away from Everton getting beaten 3-1 at home and say there's positives? Well, yes and no. Against City, as David said, there's got to be a degree of fairness to the team. And we spoke about it last week about Norwich and how well they'd done. It's a sort of freak result. And we saw from City that even when they rested certain players in terms of Aguero and Silva, they still were very dangerous from the get-go. But generally, I thought we defended well, and like I say, the intensity we brought to the midfield and the attack was really good. And there wasn't really a weak performance for me. I thought some players who I'm not big fans of did pretty well.
Yeah.
And shall I say it now? I thought Schneiderlin and Coleman had decent games.
I wouldn't say Schneiderlin.
I thought he had a decent game.
No, I wouldn't say Schneiderlin.
What did you think of it?
I thought Seamus Coleman really, he battled, and that's what he said. Yeah. And his final ball was a lot better than it was in previous matches.
Yeah.
I thought he was up against Sterling, which, listen, Sterling can rip anyone to shreds on his day, but I thought he did quite well. He hung in there in the first half, and I was questioning. I think a couple of times Sterling got underneath him and had a shot on target, but literally I thought he battled well, got back into the game and stuck to his guns. And what I was impressed with going forwards, that his final ball was a lot better than what it has been in previous matches. And that's the one thing I've been very critical about, is that his final ball when you get in there, it's not an hope. And you've seen that when the goal came in. Now, it's been highlighted on social media, hasn't it, about the goal that, obviously, with Seamus Coleman chipped it and Calvert-Lewin headed it in. Now, if that would have hit the post or hadn't shickled over the line, fingers would have been pointed in the direction of why isn't Calvert-Lewin diving in there and making... And that's what we've all said there and go, Calvert-Lewin's never in the area, he's not a goal sniffer, he's not a type of striker that he just runs the channels. Well, he's shown what he can do. Yeah. So why are we being critical about it for? That was one of the things that irritated me, that he just dived in and robbed Seamus Coleman's goal. No, I want my strikers to be in there around that box, goal poaching for a living. That's what Harry Kane does, that's what Aguero does, that's what Salah does, all the best strikers. And this lad learning his trade, and more goals that go in, gets him confidence. Now, if I was backing Lee striker on Burnley on Saturday, and any player for Everton to score, I'd be backing Calvert-Lewin on the back of what he's doing. 4
goals in 3 games.
Of course, and it says a lot about him. Coleman played well, I thought. Calvert-Lewin, I thought, played really well. Do you know what was interesting? Delph, I don't know about you, but I thought he just done okay. But when I was speaking to a couple of the fans, including our heads, our cameraman, they were waxing lyrical about him. I thought he got stuck in, but again, you're looking for a bit more creativity, and without Gomez maybe being a bit too more critical on him.
No, yeah, I agree. I thought he played decent. I agree with Ed, but he didn't blow me away either. It was just a decent performance. But I also agreed. I don't think there wasn't a bad performance on the pitch. Thought,
Pickford.
Well, I thought we might have been coming on to him later. But if we're on the subject of him, look, I think he is blocked slightly, but I don't think he started the season well at all, to be honest, and he probably should trying to do a little bit better from that set piece, in my opinion. I thought he made an error the week before against Sheffield United that everyone pretty much overlooked, just because you don't want to be digging someone out for every mistake. It's it's an elite level game, players are going to make mistakes, but that goal at Sheffield United, he comes out and he doesn't need to, makes it easy for the striker. That was a crucial moment in the game where we were chasing it 1-0 down. They go 2-0 up, game over with 15 minutes to go. And I thought he let us down a little bit again on Saturday.
I think it's his
good this season.
Sorry to interrupt, David. I think it's his mannerism and the way. I think. Well, I didn't know about it. Someone texted me and he said, when he came out to try and take the ball, and he came out with the ball, didn't he? And there was a couple of defenders that he nearly got caught in the end. But I believe he was like laughing and joking with them, with the players at the end, and he got caught out. It might someone texted me that, listen, it might not be the truth, but if it is the case, but I have seen him do this once or twice before, it's just laughing and joking when things aren't going well. And I know that's his persona, his personality, but he's at a bigger club than Sunderland now, and it's not going to wash with Evertonians. If they're getting beat 1-0 or 2-1 with a couple of minutes to go, and he's laughing and joking, or he's doing something stupid, that's not going to buy him time.
I think what happened, I actually saw it. I think when he comes out and all our hearts are in our mouths, he shouldn't have come out. And it was only partly through to his own ability on the ball as a footballer, and partly to the fact that, City just didn't nip in there first. He got away with it. And then as he was jogging back, he does this stupid smile and a laugh. It annoys people. It annoys me, to be honest. I find elements of his personality just infuriating, like Newcastle last season. But I do think it was a case of a bit of a nervous laughter to cover. I think he sort of lives on his nerves, if you like, during games, and it's not like he doesn't think it was necessarily funny. Rather, it was his nerves and the adrenaline.
It's just his way of getting through it.
It's just his way of getting through it, I think. So I don't think he was undermining his commitment to the team. I don't think you can say that really, but sometimes you just do think help yourself and look that bit more professional.
You do that maybe 2 or 3-1 up, don't you? You don't do it when you're losing the game.
Exactly.
I suppose he didn't know he was going to get caught on the camera, I suppose. So.
Well, I mean, these days, I suppose they should be aware that they're always pretty much on some camera or other, aren't they? But,
definitely, indeed. Well, we'll give him a pass on that one. Looking ahead, we've got rid of the Manchester City game. Looking ahead to Saturday, is this Marco Silva's biggest game in charge of Everton?
It's as big as the game in late February, early March against Cardiff. I think Everton were in a very similar situation, and that was a huge game. Thankfully, they won comfortably 3-0, but it is as big as that game for me.
Is it his biggest game, Greg, at Everton?
I think it feels like it is, because let's break it down. That game against Cardiff, David's just mentioned, came on the back of a more prolonged bad run.
Yeah.
Because we're so early in the season, we've won a couple of games, and it's not like it's been a long bad run.
Yeah.
But the issue is, it's the second really bad run that he's had in a short spell when we have come across against poorer teams or teams that we should be beating. So, and obviously, I actually think that was worse, the form in the build up to that game and what had gone on in the cups and what have you. But it's accumulative, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I feel the Sheffield United result was so difficult to swallow. And then, yeah, you do come out more positive against City, but you still got them beat. Thank God we're in the League Cup. If he loses it, I don't think he gets the sack. Yeah. But it really, really brings the pressure on. And then that can start a cycle, a bit of a downward cycle in terms of momentum in itself.
I think it puts pressure on him, but I seriously don't think this is the biggest game for him.
So
I think no. I think Watford is. Honestly, I think Watford's in the cup because if he draws this, or even if he loses it, I know it's all a bad atmosphere and the momentum's not with you and the confidence is low going into the international break. But you play West Ham at home. Isn't it, the next home game after the international break? So even if the worst case scenario happens on Saturday and we get beat, don't get me wrong, there'll be fans shouting for his head, and I get all that. It comes part and parcel with the situation. But if they do get beat, he's got a good window there to get the players that aren't on international break, get them on board. But then he's got West Ham at home, and then Watford. I think they're the two of his biggest games. I think Watford's a killer. Honestly, I really do, because I think Evertonians would take top 10 now and a win at Wembley in February. Yeah. They'd take that all day long. So I think Watford is the killer. If they get knocked out against Watford at home when they've been handed a brilliant opportunity with all the big clubs hitting each other with really good potential to go to the latter stages of this competition, I think that'll be the kick in the teeth. Yeah. So if he underestimates that, makes a lot of changes and gets knocked out and doesn't get a result against West Ham, I think that would really put the big pressure on him. I don't think Burnley is as big as what I will say is what the national media and some of the bookmakers are making out, because there's a lot more managers in a worse situation than Marco Silva at the moment. It really is. Pochettino as well, he's under pressure. The Wolves manager's under pressure. A lot of them are. I know they're all above Everton, don't get me wrong, but they've spent a few quid as well. So I don't rate it as highly pressurised as what people are making out.
Yeah. I agree. I think there's very few places to go to get beaten on Saturday. It's a very pessimistic horizon.
One of them's not County Road Wetherspoons, where he didn't turn up to on Saturday. We'll say nothing about that, will we?
We'll leave it there.
He did promise us to meet us after the match on Saturday for a bevy. He didn't turn up, obviously, because we got beat. One of them fair weather fans, you will see them, they're everywhere. Anyway,
story,
we believe you, no problem. One thing has been noted this week as how successful the under-23s have been. Now, they come up against Burton Albion this week in the EFL Trophy and beat them, Everton under-23s. So there's been highly muted, lots of speculation now. Well, if these lads are now doing it against Championship teams and League One teams, why aren't they able to be given an opportunity in the Everton first team? Which is a good point, because I do think there may be potential in the future too. I don't think, this is just my opinion, I'll have first tabs on this for a change. I think again, I think they will be maybe towards the latter ends of the season, depending on where we are, but not at this moment, while there's a lot of pressure on the manager, on the team, on the players. I think we can't shed that water yet. And even though a lot of these under-23 players are playing and training with the first team every single day. So if they are standing out that much as what everyone believes, if Anthony Gordon is ripping up trees, if Ellis Sims has scored in 20 in training sessions, then they will be put into the first team. So obviously they are not in training sessions, otherwise they would be in there. Do you agree?
Not with everything you said. I think Anthony Gordon, let's say, Ellis Sims I don't know much about. I know he's been prolific for the 23s and the 18s, and he's probably a prospect. Well, he is definitely a prospect in terms of goal scoring. But from what I understand, I don't think he's ready yet. Morgan Feeney, again, not quite. Certainly not to step up to the Premier League when you've got like players in his position who are, I'm not saying they're doing fantastically, but they're experienced and they're internationals. What I would say about Gordon is, I've consistently heard he trains with the first team every week.
Yeah.
He's one of the fastest in the senior setup, even though he's not, strictly speaking, a first team squad player. We've seen him do things in games that are really exciting, that get bums off seats. I think he could have an impact if he was to give him a chance. And I don't think Saturday's the time to do it, by the way. I think it's too pressurised. In the similar sense to like Barkley when he came on his QPR, and do you know, in that respect, I think he's probably the one who's most ready, and I would like him to get a chance this season.
Is there any players, now you watch a lot of the under-23s, don't you, David? Is there any other players out there that you think, not from what you're hearing, from what you've witnessed at games, that will automatically be ready for the first team at the moment?
No. The closest person to it is Gordon.
Anthony Gordon.
Yeah, Anthony Gordon. I think what you're really looking for at that level is someone who just stands out. You know, and he's still a young lad in that age group, and he stands out. He gives you magic moments, which we've seen because we see the highlights of what he does. And for me, he is the one that I would be looking to try and bed in. Look, you could try him out, give him 2 appearances, and see how he gets on. If he's invisible or makes no impact, you know, it's too early, and then it'll be the route of a loan move and then, you know, work his way through. But him aside, no. And I think a really good example is Josh Bowler at Hull, who looked fantastic for the under-23s, very skillful, very attack-minded, really exciting. I'm sure we've had a conversation about him.
We did.
In terms of maybe he's ready. He's gone to Hull are 13th in the Championship, and he can't get a game. He's played 2 cup games, and just hasn't influenced either of them.
The Reading goalkeeper as well.
Yeah,
he's another one. Another one can't get a game.
Yeah, he's
sticking the gaff out.
He's had a few mistakes, so it just shows you how steep that step is from 23 to first team. So I just think there's no need to rush these players.
Sorry, David, if I put you on the spot here, for anyone who hasn't seen Anthony Gordon play, position-wise or what he plays like, can you describe him for us?
You have put me on the spot there, Todd.
Good.
Yeah, he's just fantastic in the attacking third, so he can play kind of up top or be in behind. He's great to find a pocket of space. He's very skillful on the ball as well. He's
rapid, isn't he?
Rapid, very accurate shooter. He just looks fantastic. He kind of looks like the player that sometimes we need when, I'm not sure he could do it yet, but I'm talking further down the line. It sounds like the player that we need when we need someone to influence the game and pick the ball up in that attacking third, something that we've moaned about so much.
When I've seen him on short clips, obviously, is that when he's got the ball, it's as if like time stands still. As if other defenders are like, or other midfielders are just like, no way comparing him, by the way, to this fella. Like, no when Zidane got the ball, like everyone just stood off, and he played the game at his pace. When I'm watching this kid, it's as if like no one's around him and he's got all the time he wants, and that's the sign of a good play for me.
Yeah, something I just want to add, because we've mentioned his name, and I was just checking it on the laptop while we're having the chat then, is obviously everyone's going on and on about Sims.
Ellis Sims,
He's 44 appearances under 18s, 41 goals, 9 appearances for the under 23s, 1 goal.
That's a jump.
Yeah, exactly. So
it's interesting.
Him kind of being near the first team, he's nowhere near ready.
Miles off it.
It's someday, but
miles off it indeed. We put a couple of questions out for Twitter and Facebook before. So before we get on to our Burnley versus Everton match preview, we'll go through some of your Twitter and Facebook questions. We'll rapidly go through them.
Yeah.
You go first, David. What have we got?
American Toffee Podcast. I've actually been on it. Good group of lads. I believe Richarlison should be played on the left where he is best. Someone else can be shoehorned onto the right. Do you agree? I actually don't. I see what you're trying to say, but what you find now is a lot of say left-footed forwards will be put on the right flank
to tuck in.
Basically, the idea is to cut in. It's to take shots on goal and create spaces for overlapping fullbacks. If you've got Richarlison on the left, you're looking for him to be more of a provider. But the problem is, he isn't a great provider. I think he's only made 3 assists since he's joined the club. It's not his asset. So for me, I can understand why you're saying it. it is a fair point, but in my personal opinion, I think he's better on the right and cutting in.
I'll just briefly touch on that one. I think Seamus Coleman needs as much help as possible on the right hand side than if he was to go on the left with Luca Dean. I just think the team would be totally lopsided. I don't think there'd be no balance if Richarlison and Luca... Don't get me wrong, Richarlison and Luca Dean sounds mouth-watering, but on the flip side of that, you'd have literally nothing on the right hand side. I think Seamus Coleman needs all the help he gets.
Yeah. Matthew Barry, I'll give this one to Toe. Why is it that Seamus Coleman can only play like he did on Saturday versus City when his position is under threat?
I don't think he... Well, we've met him, haven't we, a few times. He doesn't seem to be the type of character that needs players on, like, waiting in his wings, so to speak. He doesn't seem that type of character. He always plays, like, he's always one of them that puts his heart on his sleeve and etc. I think there's some games where he does, like he played the Leicester comeback when he came back in that game. He was playing on adrenaline. I half think on Saturday he was playing on adrenaline just to get through the game. I think he would have been sore Sunday morning. Don't get me wrong, playing against all them world class players, De Bruyne and Sterling, it would have been tough for anyone. But that's the Seamus Coleman that we want, and we spoke about it many a times on here. He has got that in his locker, but we need to see it more often. Not dropping that level. We need to see the 7, 8, 9 out of 10 Seamus Coleman, not the 5 and 6 we've seen more frequently over the past 12 months. So I don't think he seems to me the type of character that needs players waiting to fight for the shirt. That's not him. I do think there is players that feel like that. I think Morgan Schneiderlin's one, to be honest. I think he needs players waiting in his wings to give him a kick out the backside, but I don't think Seamus Coleman's that one.
Yeah, I agree.
Agreed.
The Clawless Lobster.
Greg,
yeah. 3 questions, but we'll deal with the first one first, and then the other 2 will... It is quite fitting for you, this, actually.
Okay.
Due to your visits to Warrington every week. Do we need to ignore sentiment/loyalty, be ruthless and jib Marco Silva, or stick with him for another year of sideways moods, mentality in football? I can't gauge if he likes Marco Silva or not.
That's the first bit. Do we need to? So basically, should we get rid?
Yeah, he's basically saying, do we be ruthless now and aspire for something better, or do we stick with him?
I like some of his tweets, and I do know on Twitter, and he speaks a lot of sense. I don't think in this instance, though, I agree. Just purely for the fact that I just think it would be too much change. I think that's what we're suffering from anyway as a football club at the moment. The problem is, it's like, which probably hints at what he's getting at about being ruthless. I might have a very different take on that if we lose to Burnley and Watford, and that's not because it's a fickle knee-jerk thing. It's just that he's at this pivotal time. It's probably why Tony in the notes is saying, is it his biggest game? And we've all said probably not, but nevertheless, it is a massive game.
Yeah, of course.
And to lose that, and then maybe to go out the cup, it's not that much further on in time. And the argument still stands that you should have continuity. But I think it's just Steve David's phrase, don't know where you go from there. But let's say that isn't going to happen. We are going to beat Burnley and we're going to go through to the cup and go to the business end. I just think he needs time.
Can I just briefly say on that one, it's not another year of a sideways mood or mentality by sacking him. I just think by sacking him, not going to achieve anything. We've seen what's happened in the past. I look at Pochettino, I look at Klopp. They had sideways movement for 2 seasons before they have 6 or 7 transfer windows under their belts to get the players that they want. Sackingham's not going to achieve nothing. Don't get me wrong, if we're in a precarious position and we're getting relegated, then yeah, fine. But we're nowhere near that at the moment. And I just feel as if I look at examples, Tottenham and Liverpool. Klopp was going nowhere with Liverpool. Pochettino was going nowhere with Tottenham. Yet you could see little bits of progression, and we can see that. We've seen under Silva beating the big teams, playing better football than Allardyce. We've seen a bit of progression. Don't be trigger happy at the moment. That's as far as I'm concerned.
2 quick ones on that, but these are very quick. Is it acceptable to wear New Balance and support Everton?
That seems to me that.
Yeah, go ahead.
No,
well done, the Clawless.
I take it back all what I was saying about it.
Yeah,
no, sorry about
he's
that.
Got an.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was wearing New Balance before they were making their kits.
It doesn't matter. Then you put a stop to it.
Believe me, Mr. Jones. So you never wear Adidas even when they were making their kits?
No, I wouldn't.
Also, I don't know if your boots been for the past 8 years.
No, I always wear Nike. I always wear Nike. I'm not having it. No, don't buy a pint of Carlsberg when they were in Carlsberg.
I mean, that's just good advice anyway. Isn't
Go on. Bangos Carlsberg sponsorship.
1 word answers.
Go on.
Sit or stand to wipe.
Obviously, sit.
Sit. No, stand.
Oh, you mad bastard. Oh, actually, I'm with you, stand.
There you go.
I'm not answering that.
Dignified. More dignified.
Are we starting to see Calvert-Lewin's potential, or is this as good as it gets for him as a goal-scoring number 9?
We should be cruel and not let Tony answer this one, but as he's his agent, I'll let him have a go.
No, because everyone's gone quiet all about him all of a sudden, haven't they? 3 weeks ago, they're all throwing, digging the knives in, so to speak, all ready to go for the kill. And I was still sticking up for him, and I still stick up. Listen, my dad again, when I rang him on the weekend, there he goes, scored another goal, played well, didn't he? No, he didn't play well. Yeah, he did. Majority of the fans I spoke to after the match thought he played well. Marco Silva thought he played well. And do you know what? One of the greatest coaches ever in the history of football thought he played well. And Pep Guardiola thinks he's a good player too. So I had my dad right off there. He said, no. So no, Calvert-Lewin, brilliant, I thought. And if he continues to play like that, he'll get more goals.
I'll take this one.
Go on.
And I just want to point out I'm not wishing Silva to go anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if he does go, if Silva was to leave, who would replace him? That was from the Arteta money, which is ironic because it would be Mikel Arteta for me. And before people start moaning or groaning,
I can hear the moan straight away. I can hear them.
Yeah, this isn't like let's get Ferguson or Kale in there. I would like Arteta if he had nothing to do with Everton Football Club. The fact he does is just a bonus.
Yeah.
Look at the testament to the players who've worked with him. You know, there was a great piece on The Athletic about it.
Obviously.
Yeah. Greg never wrote it but the calibre of player who've put down their progression as players to Arteta speaks testament. And these are people who would talk more highly about him than Guardiola.
Yeah.
The fact that he's then coached with one of the best managers of all time, arguably, just for me, I just think he's a great candidate, and if he's not going to do it at Everton, he will do it at another club, and he will be a success.
Who was that you go for?
Not Mikel.
Our famous Evertonian down Wembley Way when we got knocked out of the semi-final 3 years ago. What, Mourinho? Do you know what? I had loads of fans when I was doing fan camp on last week, and they were all shouting for Mourinho. I said, get real. You're looking at a football club that hasn't won a trophy for 25 years, who are literally known from outside the UK as mid-table team. Get real. Yeah, you can have great fans, great attendance, great history. He's only going to come here if you are proper giving him Queen's Head above the rest. And I don't think, I know we will throw soft money, but I think what he's after and what he wants, I think they're two different things. He's not going to touch this club with the barge pole. I'd probably go along the lines with it. I'd hate to agree with our mate to be on the left, but probably who you'd be left with is Arteta.
Fucking first choice.
It is. I know. There's not much. Eddie Howe, forget about it. Eddie Howe spends a few quid every summer, and no better off. He spends a few, honest, every summer. Bournemouth, get up there, fly, and then hit the wall when the Deckies comes down. Honest, finished. I wouldn't have him. He spends a few quid and then no better off every season. I'd have Arteta. Yeah, if obviously if you couldn't prize me,
Clean sweep for Arteta. Yeah, and how about Arteta and his assistant Timmy the Blue Kangaroo doing his UEFA A badges as we speak at Finch Farm?
He is.
That's a little.
Would that be the dream?
The
dream team.
It's a bit overly romantic, but only in the sense that having Ferguson as one of the coaches at the club is. I mean,
I think that's all a bit too cheesy for me.
Yeah, even the Kale part for me, actually, I just think I want it to be on Arteta's merit, not because he's Mick. I don't just want to sing the song.
After a win and fire the Barbie up.
20-ounce steak.
Maybe that was a little bit corny. Just Arteta will do.
Yeah. Go on. Who's the next one?
Craig says, do you think progress has been made on the pitch since Silva took over? I have no idea what drills he's doing in training, but the players look like strangers on that pitch. I have no idea what they're doing either. Not criticising, we have no say in what's going on.
Rewind to 18 months ago when he's watching Sam Allardyce.
Yeah.
If he hasn't seen any improvement.
Yeah, no, would you agree?
There's
there's improvement.
It's not perfect, but
it's not.
I totally understand what you're saying. I do. I understand what you're saying.
18 months ago, I was watching Cuco Martina and John Joe Kenny and a mixed match. Kenny's doing great. No, he's doing. Don't get me wrong, great. But I looked at the team the Pickford team when Pickford threw the error in against Liverpool. The back four was a joke.
What goal was it?
All I was seeing was Martin and John Joe Kenny.
Didn't Ashley play? Williams?
Ashley Williams played, I'm sure he did. It was a nightmare. And I looked at the team, I thought, wow. And people can't see an improvement when they see Luca Dean, Richarlison, Gomez. Come on, do me a favour.
Craig Law, thanks for the question, but I suppose we covered this a little bit earlier. It was, do you think if we lose to Burnley, Marco Silva will be sacked? Will leave his job?
No, won't be sacked in my opinion.
No, same here. I think it looked very pessimistic, but I think he'll stay on. Okay? Yeah. Casey says, if we were to sack Silva, Jesus Christ, if we were to sack Silva, which, to be fair, he's not currently an advocate of, he's just saying,
good lad.
What would the plan be? An out of work manager, Mourinho, Allegri,
forget about them. Forget about them, they're not happening.
Try to seek someone who current job long term, Arteta.
Yeah.
He'd be a sign. Nagelsmann,
never his name. You've mentioned him before, I think.
Yeah. I'm just looking pronounce his name, but yeah, that'd be a great move.
Nagelsmann.
Stopgap and reassess in the summer, Moyes or Unsworth.
Forget about it.
Move on.
Yeah. Next, Lynn.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
It's. I think we probably all kind of threw our names in the hat for Arteta, haven't we?
Yeah. If and listen, I want to give Silva a lot more time than what people think. I just think it takes a lot more time to get your ideas across, get the players in as well. That's massive. He's got two centre halves to pick from every week. It's not ideal at all. He'd love another centre forward. Obviously, he's having to deal with the cards he's got. So no, I think give him another January window at least, and let him regroup, let him sort this mess out that he's been left with. People tend to forget the balance of the squad was an absolute nightmare when he got in there. Rooney was in, he had about 5 number 10s, Sigurdsson, Rooney, it was a joke, absolute joke. He slowly but surely, him and Brands have got rid of that Koeman, Allardyce type of football. It was great at times under Koeman, but towards the back end it was horrible. Sam Allardyce was just, I lost for words, it was disgusting. It was championship football, you're right. So
couple more Facebook. Who's the better right back, me or Greg? And that comes from David Taylor.
I've seen Greg play right back, so I'm going with David Taylor.
Oh, he means him or me?
Yeah.
Definitely him. Listen, it's 7 o'clock, by the way.
It's alright.
Yeah, it's alright.
Yeah. I'm just
it's getting late on. Paul Grant.
Yeah, we've covered it slightly. Mr. Grant, who I know well, good fella. Where do we stand on Pickford? Slowly starting to dislike him. One thing I will say on Pickford is the data provider that I use, Y-Scout, rank him as the 18th worst goalkeeper in the Premier League this season.
Wow. 18th worst?
Yeah.
So therefore...
So there's two worst.
So there's 2 worst goalkeepers in the Premier League. And that accounts for everything, so shot saves, percentages, everything.
I thought he made a decent start as well. I remember saying a couple of weeks ago on here, kept us in the game 0-0 against Crystal Palace. We had a couple of good saves in that. And there was another game as well, which we got something from. May have been Watford or Wolves. He kept us in the game there. It's obviously his confidence has gone since then, and performances have dropped. But he's another one. He speaks highly of himself. He's he's one of them who thrives on that type of pressure. So we'll soon see over the next couple of weeks how good it is.
Yeah. I suppose the only good thing is everyone forgets he's still youngish in terms of goalkeepers. So he's still learning, isn't he? So fingers crossed.
Last one.
Yeah. Again, probably covered it, but. How much pressure will Silva be under if Everton lose on the weekend? That's from Tom Chalner.
Do you think there'd be more pressure on him from the national media than the locals?
No, the local media or people?
Local media.
Yeah, inevitably. I think that's always the way it tends to be, isn't it? In terms of
Gotta keep your friendships.
Yeah, I know. It's hard.
No.
I think it's easier for the Nationals, isn't it, to start calling for black managers' heads.
But they don't have to deal with the managers every day.
And it's not their responsibility to report every day in, day out, maintain relationships with the club. I like to back people like the Echo who've got integrity. Should it be that bad that they genuinely believe he has to go, to say that.
And not just newspapers as well, you've got radio as well, and all the local radio.
Good points, fan sites, whatever. But I don't think anyone's quite fully there yet. I know a lot of fans will be going, what are you on about? We want him out. Yeah. But there's not like an overwhelming majority who want him out. So no, I don't think that. But to answer your question, yeah, I think there'll probably be more voices of dissent nationally saying his time's running out if he gets beat.
And I don't think it's got to a position where you sort of knew towards the end of Koeman and Martinez when players just down tools. I remember towards when Martinez's last game, I think it was Sunderland away. The irony, it was against Sam Allardyce's Sunderland.
Was it 3-0?
3-0, and they just down tools. The players, you were looking at them going, this isn't you, this is just someone else, this is just a replica of someone else.
I think that's terrible, by the way.
Oh, of course. And even towards the back, the last game against for Ronald Koeman against Arsenal, where we got wellies every year, was a 6-2, and players were just going through the motions there. If you look at the team that had just played against Manchester City, we're nowhere near them performance levels, nowhere near. Players are still behind the manager. They're coming out, Luca Dean during the week. He's a great manager, he's getting the best out of them, etc. So we're nowhere near. Listen, the performances haven't been as good against Bournemouth and Sheffield United. I take that on board. But you can only go from what we've seen previously, and they played really well against Manchester City. And I did speak to a City fan on Saturday, and he said on another game, you could have easily beat us 4-1. He said our goalie kept us in it. He said De Bruyne's on another level, and he's took that this season. He said he's just timed it where De Bruyne was unbelievable, our goalkeeper was fantastic, and it easily could have went the other way. And that's from a Manchester City fan, so I'll take that.
Yeah,
I'll take that on board. Get straight into Burnley then. Everton.
Yeah.
Now we're seeing Andre Gomez is fit and available, which is good news. Which leads to the question, you know, I'm going to ask you.
Who gets dropped? Is it?
Well, the formation. He's got, for the first time this season, Schneiderlin, Delph and Gomez. Yeah. He can go with his favourite formation, what he's been speaking of, 4-3-3. Yeah. Will he do it in arguably his most pressurised game at Everton?
Do you need two holding midfielders against 4-4-2 Burnley who throw crosses into the box? Limited threat through the middle? Arguably not. Is it a bit early to change things though, in terms of, given what you've said, the pressure on this game? It depends on how much he believes in the players to go and adapt and play to a game plan of a newly changed up formation. But let's say the individuals that were in it, so the three behind in midfield, let's say it's Schneiderlin, Holding because Cabaman's still not fit, Delph and Gomez. Yeah. They're all good players. Yeah. So there's no reason why they shouldn't be able to play that. And then let's say you go for, I don't know, DCL up top, Iwobi and Richarlison. Yeah. He likes 4-3-3 because he thinks it'll give the forward three more freedom and space. So I hope that is what he does. Does he do it? I hope he does. He's been brave at times. The only little caveat is, like I say, the stakes are quite high for this.
Yeah, that's what's worrying me.
And they haven't had a chance to try it out in a less pressurised game. I mean, all the games are pressurised, aren't they? But this is acutely so, isn't it? Because what's gone on before.
But when is he, Greg? Because if they were to lose this, then they've got West Ham at home. Is he going to try it against when he has to win against West Ham at home, doesn't he? So is he going to? If he's not going to try it on Saturday against Burnley, is he going to try it against West Ham at home?
And I suppose you arguably need. But then again, we criticise them starting two holding fields at home, don't we? But West Ham have got more threat in theory. Famous last words than Burnley, haven't they? Yeah. I think Burnley's going to be a real test of those defensive players, aren't they, as usual? Crosses coming in. Barnes and Wood are just like, if one doesn't score, the other does, and they really batter you physically and sort of they drain you with the movement and just non-stop aggression. Yeah, it's going to be a massive test for Mina and for Keane.
Well, they've only lost 2 games this season, Burnley, haven't they, David? One was obviously against Manchester City. The other, they're very unfortunate against Arsenal. So Everton are in for a really tough game on Saturday. And it's not one Marco Silva would have handpicked to try and get himself out of trouble, would it?
No. So with Burnley, through other working commitments and other podcasts to do, I've looked at quite a lot. And one kind of conclusion we've come from Burnley is they are a team that embrace the chaos, so to speak. And it's all a bit wild at Turf Moor, and it's all like messy, really
balls in the box,
just tough. And I don't think Everton go there and try out a 4-3-3.
No.
And I'm an advocate of a change eventually, but I think they've got to go with the 4-2-3-1
because it just sent the players' heads west. You mean
it's just a tough place to go. And as I said, Burnley, I'll use that term again, embrace the chaos. It's mad, it's bouncing off shins and it's half chances to swing in towards goal, and it's all just Burnley don't have a set style of play. You know, they're not bothered about dominating the ball. They just go direct, and but it works in the favour, especially at Turf Moor. As I said, you've touched on their record. The good thing is, Everton had a pretty decent head-to-head record against them last season. They won both games, scored 7, conceded 1. So, I mean, obviously, you're not going to go and win 5-1 again, I imagine. But
that was straight after the Derby defeat, was it? Oh no, it was on Boxing Day.
Boxing Day, yeah. But I think we'd had 2 difficult home games at home that we drew. So I'd stick the same team. I think he will as well. And as I said, I think we've got potential to actually win with that team in this game. I'd be more confident in mixing it up for West Ham at home.
We're going to go with the dreaded predictions then, gents.
Didn't one of us get 3-1?
Wasn't it me?
I think it was you, wasn't it?
I said 2-2.
I made. You know what? I made. Please reach out to me, whoever you was. I can't think your name off the top of my head, but a lad come out and give me loads of stick and said, "Made up he is an arm manager on Twitter." and
you got one right.
Yeah.
Well done, Dave.
That'll be it. 1-0 for the rest of the season.
Dreaded predictions. Go on, Greg.
Despite myself and all the things that David's just said, which do cause a shiver to run down my spine, I must be honest. I do think that the team will take the positives from the performance over City. We'll put performance in for the manager and we'll get the 3 points. And I think we're going to go there and win 2-1.
I will go 1-1. I think Dice should probably take that. I think Silva will probably go, do you know what? That'll get me till the international break and I can play 4-3-3 out to West Ham. I think it's got a nailed on draw written all over it. Go on, David.
I'll try. I want to be different, but I can't. I'm with Greg. I think 2-1.
We're going to win.
I'm glad you're not our manager. Lovely. Our cameraman is saying 5-1 Everton. Well done, Ed, indeed. Well, Blues, if you enjoyed that podcast, as you fully know, we're on YouTube, on SoundCloud, Facebook, Twitter. Be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube as well, and please leave us a review. We'll be back next week. It's international break next week, isn't it?
It is. We might come back. We'll
see how we feel. But we'll be back shortly. So thanks for tuning in on the Altogether Now podcast. Now that isn't the end of this podcast. A couple of months ago, Julie, due to the thought of how well this podcast's been going, we reached out. Well, it was going well, wasn't it? And then a few people were in touch. And they said, why don't you try and put it on YouTube? We'd like to see. People didn't actually believe us. We're here at the Bramley Moore Pub. So we just thought, you know what? We'll reach out and see if we can get a cameraman on board. So we put out there on social media, listen, any chance of someone, we come down out of the goodness of their own heart and record this podcast for us. So we did. We spoke to a couple of people, didn't we? We got in touch. But one lad we like the look of. He's behind the camera right now. And he's spoken to us over the last couple of weeks, and he's not in the best of places, but we've reassured him he will be in the best of places. And it's important that if you're going through a bad time at home or in work, relationship, money situations, jobs, whatever it may be, that you have the opportunity to speak to someone. And that is what we are rewarding this lad for. Not rewarding as such, but to show that we are here for him. So Ed, this is for you. So on behalf of myself, Greg, David and Everton Football Club, if you'd like to come up here, mate. Sort of for it. There you go, my friend. There's an Everton soundboard. Is that Everton for you? You alright?
Nice one, mate.
You okay? No problem. There you go.
Nice one.
Well done, mate.
Cheers, gents.
Fantastic work. Thanks for
Yeah,
joining
cheers.
the team.
Really appreciate it.
And Ed's a good fella. So if you do see him on social media, if you see him at the grounds, he follows Everton home and away. Give him a nudge, but even buy him a drink as well. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks very much.
Hi there, I just thought I'd put a face to the name. My name is Edward Jones and I am the cameraman for the Altogether Now podcast. First off, I'd just like to say on behalf of Tony, Greg and David and the rest of the guests that we've had on, I thank you for the support, the comments, the likes. Everything is appreciated and it really shows the growth of this podcast. And on personal level, I'd like to say thank you to Tony, Greg and David just for the support they've given me over the past couple of weeks and just since the beginning really of it. I'm proud to call them mates and it's been a pleasure so far to know them and work with them. Of course, like Tony said, if you've ever got any problems, whether it be big or small, it's always worth to talk about it and open up. Whether you feel like doing that with your family or friends or not, I've left some links down below to some of the mental health charities that will be able to help you. So definitely check them out. If you're ever feeling low, regardless of what problem it is, someone is always happy to listen. And I'll leave it at that. Thank you very much for watching, listening. Don't forget to subscribe to the Altogether Now podcast, and we'll see you next time.